Welcome to Fieldsports Britain, and we've moved from warm autumn misty mornings to cold winter fog. Coming up, we're with George Digweed learning how to shoot pigeons. We're on a long-range rifle course. First, His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh has been talking about shooting. We went along to see. It's a week of royal celebrations. Not just Prince William and Kate Middleton. Shooters are excited about Prince Philip's visit to North Wales. As well as being a shooter, Prince Philip is a thinker. He explains his reasons for shooting.
Think about the justification for shooting is that when I leave Sandringham and sometimes drive across the fens on the way to London, the moment you leave Sandringham and round about there, you don't see a living thing of any kind whatsoever, not even a bird, or a hare or a rabbit or nothing across the fens. And I think that it just shows that if a keeper's estate, you'll find everything there. And I suspect that's one of the reasons why so many things that perhaps shooters don't particularly want to have around end up over keepered estates. But the job that this organisation is doing is really worthwhile, and I think it's great.
This organisation is the British Association for Shooting and Conservation, BASC. Prince Philip made his comments on a visit on Friday to its headquarters near Wrexham.
I've always had a great admiration for what this organisation's been doing ever since it started out as the Wildfowlers Association. And in the days when I first became patron, of course, wildfowling, as we have a property at Sandringham on the Norfolk, on the Wash coast, wildfowling was quite a difficult business. And we had to begin to establish, it was only really through this association began to establish contact with the wildfowling club of King's Lynn and the people round about. And since then, the relationship has improved vastly. And it was largely because there was a club there that it was possible.
Prince Philip was there to open a new communications and media building, which is named after him. He believes the Duke of Edinburgh building is an essential part of BASC's work.
This will make it very much better. And particularly, of course, that if you're going to do the job, you need to be in contact with the media because they are probably the second estate of this land. Although I'm not sure who has the upper hand, whether it's them or the politicians. But they react with each other, and somehow somebody has got to keep them informed of the facts of life, which they seem to forget very easily.
BASC staff were delighted to have a royal seal of approval on their media centre.
The Duke of Edinburgh was in very good form, and it was a pleasure to see him. And really what he had to say to us was keep on doing the job that we have been doing so well for so long.
The Duke of Edinburgh building has been years in the planning and cost £750,000. BASC believes it will revolutionise the relationship between shooting and the media.
We've now got the facilities to get videos filmed and edited within hours, really, put up onto the BASC website for members and members of the public and for the press to see. We've got radio facilities which will link us directly into the studios in London or anywhere in the world, come to that, so that we sound as if we're in the studio with the presenters. And really it's launching BASC into the 21st century in terms of communications. We're now in a world where YouTube and the internet are becoming the preferred means of communication. We can be right in there, we can put forward shooting's point of view, we can show people what we do, more importantly than just telling them.
The Duke of Edinburgh building will be wheeled into battle immediately. Simon Clark explains the battleground.
Well, I think the most important thing that's going on at the moment, of course, is the current Government and Home Affairs Select Committee inquiry into firearms law. Now, the Home Affairs Select Committee has been sitting for several months. It's hearing evidence to see if the UK's firearms law is fit for purpose. BASC's point of view is, yes, it is. In the central core of security checking, police checking is very robust and it keeps people safe. But what we could do with is some simplification around the edges. But it's a time of political high drama, really, for shooting at the moment, because there is always a risk associated when politicians start looking at laws to see if there are changes to be made. We'll make sure that we're representing people who shoot and that the changes are to the benefit of shooting.
Now, George Digweed once held the record for the most number of pigeons shot by one gun in the UK in a single day. Here he is talking about what kind of cartridges he uses. George Digweed is probably the best shot in the world. He talks about one of his special loves, pigeon shooting.
I think that, pigeon shooting when I first started and pigeon shooting now is almost like, someone landing on the moon, really. There used to be a few people shooting pigeons years ago, and, it was done as more of a crop protection scenario than it is now, where it's deemed a sport, and you've got, guides that take you out and you pay to go and have a day shooting pigeons, and it is effectively now a proper sport, a true sport. And I think that the way people shoot pigeons has changed. I think that the way the pigeons actually approach, how they come into the decoys is, they're slightly more wary now. They're certainly getting used to, pigeon magnets. They're becoming a lot more wary of those, and there's only certain times that they'll work now, whereas they used to work all the time. And I think people have got to look at ways of getting, those pigeons to them in a manner that they can consistently kill them. So, your choice of cartridges is paramount. With pigeons, there's probably two main cartridges, which is the Clear Pigeon brand, which is a game board brand, and it's synonymous with pigeon shooting countrywide, really. It's their most used pigeon cartridge. It's got a shallow brass head. You've seen the box. It does exactly what it says on the tin. 2.5 inch, cartridge, and you can use it in an old side-by-side. Each cartridge is produced and designed based on cost and an ability to do a certain job, and Clear Pigeon does that. We developed a Pigeon Xtreme, which is, I wanted something that just perhaps gets there a little bit quicker, and I can have the facility to kill at, slightly longer ranges. I feel as though I'm lucky to have the ability to be able to shoot at, and be able to read targets at slightly longer ranges than perhaps one or two other people. And basically the way I look at it is, if you put a point in the ground and drew a circumference round you at 30 yards, and you shot at everything that came into that 30-yard circle, you're going to get a percentage of X amount of birds on the day. If you then put that same place in the ground and draw a 60-yard circle, then you're going to get twice as many opportunities as a person with a 30-yard circle. So for me, I wanted a cartridge that would perform to 60 yards consistently, and the Pigeon Xtreme is it. September and October pigeon shooting, 50% of your bag are going to be young pigeons. Okay, they're going to decoy. They haven't seen a magnet before. They're going to come over the field, lollop into your decoys. Why would you use a Pigeon Xtreme? It's a top-end cartridge, top of the market. It's a high-performance shell. It's costed as a high-performance shell because it does a job. And I would be a complete buffoon if I told you to shoot Pigeon Xtremes on, young pigeons coming into the decoys. You're far better off staying with the traditional game ball classic, which is the Clear Pigeon. But, once you get into the realms of January and February and you've got a wild bird on your hands that knows all about it, and if you're going out to shoot pigeons on rape to protect the crop and you want to kill some pigeons, you've got a facility. If that pigeon comes into your decoy, sees the magnet, gets a bit shy, turns at 50 yards, then that you can kill it. It is a wild quarry, and we are in the countryside pursuing a live animal. Whether you're shooting foxes at night, shooting pigeons, or shooting rats with an air rifle, you have to have respect for the quarry. If you lose that respect for the quarry, then you shouldn't be doing it. And to have respect for the quarry, you should be looking to have clean kills. And so you use the equipment that gives you the best chance of a clean kill.
George once held the UK record for the number of pigeons shot by a single gun in a day. It was a massive pest control exercise.
It was 1996, it was up near Reading, and I shot 661, all picked up, 661 for 1,052 shots. Tremendous day. You know, one of the more memorable days in life. Wouldn't necessarily want to do it again. It was one of those things where, you know, it was, if you get the opportunity to do it, you have to go out and do that once, and that was good enough.
For George, on a day like that, it has to be all about the cartridges.
Yes, of course you could use 1,000 Pigeon Xtremes, but it's like anything. If you get to the realms of shooting 1,000 cartridges in a day, you're going to know about it, even for a fat boy.
Leaving shotguns behind, let's go for rifles and the latest in our series, ballistic tips.
For much of my work in all my rifles, actually, my 243s, 308, 6BR, etc., which this is, I use HPS, who are able to produce precision sort of hand-loaded ammunition for me using my own fire-formed brass. Very popular, a lot of people use them, and they are cheaper than buying factory ammunition, considerably cheaper and considerably more accurate because it's your ammunition, it's designed for you. I don't have time to hand load, but it's as good as, and it's won me a lot of competitions, and I use it in the field all the time. The rifle itself is, this particular one is a custom built rifle. It's got what I viewed as the best components I could possibly get at the time, and it's a 1/4 minute of angle rifle in the right hands, which means it's better than me basically. So if anyone makes mistakes, it's me. The rifle itself has got a Lilja barrel, which is astonishing quality hand lap barrel, bat action, which is seriously rigid, and the tolerances in it are unbelievable. And that again came from the States. It's got a custom made stock in curly maple. I put an adjustable back pad on it, and it's got what I view as the best long range scope I've ever had. So that gives me the confidence as a shooting platform that the round is going to go exactly where I want it to. The mistake when I miss is me, that's not the gear. Okay, so kneeling position. I love the kneeling position. It's economical, it's fast to get into with and without sticks, the two variants that we're going to see. Kneeling is a long range or medium range, depending on how much you practice, rock solid, stable platform, okay, especially with sticks. So the point about kneeling is 45 degree, I'm facing the target, but I've got my front leg facing the target, and I've got a 45, 90 degree, whatever you can get, wide leg position for a triangle, because triangles are a strong engineering shape and they give you the widest, stablest base. Okay, the rear leg is up, not the front leg, the rear leg, because it's supporting my rear arm. So I'm not getting a pivot around my sticks. If you put your front leg up in this position, you're wasting the opportunity to stabilize your rear arm and take that pivot out. At this point then, you're on the target, the sticks are holding the weight of the rifle, and you're in position to stay here for as long as you like. Key here is my weight is on my foot, so I'm not getting tension in the quad on my thigh and therefore muscle shake. Sit on your foot, that's really key. If you hover, you will wobble. Sit on your foot, the weight's on your foot, you've got bone support, not muscle support. I'm sitting on my foot, I've got straight leg here, supporting my arm, so I've taken muscle out of the equation. There I am in position, and it's rock solid. That is a 350, 400 yard position depending on what you're doing, if you practice it. So that position is rock solid. The other variant is without sticks. Without sticks is a great position because it's fast to get into when you're walking along. You drop in, it's literally a step, you drop into position, and without sticks it's your front leg that comes forward. But again, front leg pointing at the target. I've got as much of an angle as I can on my rear leg, which again is at 90 degrees, front leg at the target, and I'm going for bone support again. I want to take my muscles out of the equation, and I want a straight line of shin through forearm, bone support. I've dropped into position. I don't have rear arm stability, but I have front arm stability, and again, empty rifle, but I'm onto the target. Again for you, the foundations are still there. Breathing, trigger, stock weld and follow through. So that's your kneeling. Very fast, practical shooting position, and one of my favourites personally, with and without sticks.
Well, we're back next week. This has been Fieldsports Britain, still trying to give our sport greater visibility, whatever the weather.